In The Stainless Steel Rat by Harry Henderson, follow the thrilling escapades of James Beauville diGriz, a master thief and con artist who outsmarts the galaxy's most formidable law enforcers. With his sharp wit, charm, and knack of high-stakes heists, diGriz's Adventures promises a roller coaster of excitement and clever twists that will keep you hooked from start to finish. The character was introduced in Henderson's short story, The Stainless Steel Rat, first published in 1957 in Astounding magazine. It was expanded and reprinted multiple times in the 70s, now to be called A Stainless Steel Rat is Reborn. There are 10 books in the expanded series right up until the early 2000s. So in The Stainless Steel Rat by Harry Henderson, he masterfully blends humor and high-stakes adventures following the cunning and charismatic con artist Slippery Jim Krasinski as he navigates a galaxy teeming with dangers and intrigue. Dive into this thrilling tale where every twist and turn challenges the boundaries of morality and justice, leaving you eager to see how the ultimate anti-hero outsmarts his foes. Now let's take a deep dive into the first book of the series with the crew and learn more about this classic science fiction series. Buckle up.
All right, so buckle up you, because today we are diving headfirst into a book that's basically a love letter to anyone who's ever thought, rules. What rules?
And maybe also to those who appreciate a side of social commentary with their sci-fi heists.
100%. We're talking about Harry Harrison's The Stainless Steel Rat, you guys. And this is not your average space opera. This is a story that takes place in a galaxy where, get this, crime is practically non-existent.
A utopia, some might say.
Yeah, you'd think, right? Except, even in a universe of perfect order, there's always someone who sees the cracks in the system.
Or maybe someone who misses the thrill of creating those cracks themselves.
And that, my friends, is where we meet our charmingly roguish protagonist, Slippery Jim diGriz, a master thief in a galaxy that's forgotten what thievery even means.
It's a fascinating paradox Harrison sets up, isn't it? This hyper-civilized society where the biggest threat is boredom. And into that walks Jem, a throwback to an earlier age, practically itching for a challenge.
Talk about a fish out of water. Except in this case, the fish is a brilliant, cunning criminal mastermind who makes even stealing a spaceship look like a walk in the park. Which, speaking of, is basically how the book kicks off, with Jim pulling off this incredibly elaborate escape from a supposedly inescapable vault. Think moving walls, timed explosions, the whole shebang.
It's a fantastic introduction to Jim's character, too. You see his incredible technical prowess. He even rigs the police robots to take each other out. But also this wicked sense of humor. He leaves a calling card.
Seriously, the guy's basically playing 4T chess while everyone else is stuck on checkers, but he's doing it with a wink and a smile. Yeah, and that's the thing about Jem. He's not some heartless criminal mastermind. There's a playfulness to his heists, almost a sense of artistry. He steals because he can, because he enjoys the challenge, and because, let's be honest,
Yeah.
it's fun to watch someone be that good at something, even if it's bending the rules a little.
Oh, absolutely. And Harrison walks this fine line brilliantly. He makes us root for this lovable rogue, makes us question our own assumptions about good and bad. After all, if someone is that good at something, even if it's bending the rules, doesn't it make you a little bit curious?
Oh, I'm totally there. Speaking of curious, though, just as Jim's starting to think maybe this whole greatest thief in the galaxy thing has gotten a little too easy, he gets a visit from a figure straight out of Legend in Skip of the Special Corps. And you might be thinking, Special Corps sounds a little generic, right?
It does have a certain ring to it.
Right. But here's the kicker. They're like the intergalactic FBI on steroids, shrouded in secrecy, dealing with threats most people can't even imagine. And they want Jim.
Not to apprehend him, though.
Right.
No, they want to make him an offer.
Which, let's be honest, is a pretty bold move, considering they exist to catch people exactly like him.
Right.
It's like, hey, we've noticed you're really good at breaking the law, want to join our super secret organization dedicated to upholding it, and yeah, I gotta admire the audacity.
Oh, absolutely. It's classic Harrison turning the trope on its head. And it works on multiple levels, too. You have this clash of ideologies, the master criminal versus the ultimate symbol of law and order. But you also have this sense that Inskip, this almost mythical figure, sees something of himself in Jim.
Ooh, I like that. A kind of, it takes one to know one situation.
Exactly. Inskip recognizes that Jim's unique skill set, that ability to see the angles no one else does, could be invaluable in tackling the kind of threats the Special Corps deals with. Because remember, we're not just talking about your average bank robbery here. this is a galaxy where the stakes are astronomically higher.
Yeah, those little hints about galactic conspiracies and doomsday weapons kind of stick with you.
And Inskip even argues that the galaxy has become too vast, too interconnected for someone like Jim to operate effectively alone anymore. It's almost like Harrison is commenting on the changing nature of crime itself, how it's evolving alongside technology and society.
Right. Like you can be a big fish in a small pond, or you can swim with the sharks in the open ocean. Though knowing Jim, he's probably thinking, sharks. Challenge accepted.
Well, he's about to encounter a different kind of predator altogether, because just as he's wrestling with this life-altering offer, he stumbles across another player in this grand cosmic game, and her name is Angelina.
Angelina. Yeah, there's a woman who could give even slippery Jim a run for his money.
To say the least. She's like the ultimate femme fatale, brilliant, beautiful, and so cunning she makes Jim's heists look like child's play. And what she's after? Well, let's just say it makes stealing a spaceship seem quaint.
Don't keep us in suspense. What could possibly be a bigger score than a whole starship?
Try an entire battleship, and not just any battleship, one that's still under construction, outfitted with experimental tech, cloaking devices, the whole 9 yards. It makes the stuff Jim usually steals look like children's toys.
Whoa. Okay, now that's a heist. But how do you even begin to pull that off? We're talking about a level of organization, of resources.
That's the thing about Angelina. She's playing a different game entirely. She understands that the greatest weapon isn't brute force, it's deception. She disappears into the background, cultivates this persona of a harmless socialite, while secretly manipulating events on a galactic scale.
It's like she's playing 4D chess while everyone else is still trying to figure out checkers. No wonder Jim's intrigued.
Oh, he's completely outmatched, at least initially, and he knows it. This is a whole new level of challenge, one that forces him to question everything he thought he knew about crime, about strategy, about himself.
You know, that's what I love about this book. It's not just about the action, the heist, the cool gadgets. It's about these complex characters grappling with their own identities, their own moral compasses.
Absolutely. And as the story unfolds, those lines start to blur. Who is the real criminal here? Who is playing who? And what happens when the master manipulator meets his match?
So last time we were talking about Jim's big dilemma, right?
Yeah.
Join the very organization he spent his whole life outsmarting or become public enemy number one. Not exactly an easy choice.
Especially for someone like Slippery Jim, who's about as comfortable with authority as a cat in a bathtub.
Yeah, you'd think they'd at least offer him a corner office and a license to break a few rules now and then. But no. Jim quickly learns that life in the Special Corps is more about paperwork than high-stakes heists.
Well, they do deal with some pretty extraordinary threats, remember, but you're right. There's a certain bureaucracy, a rigidness to their methods that chafes against Jim's more improvisational style.
It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Except the square peg is a charming rogue who's used to thinking several steps ahead, and the round hole is a galaxy-spanning law enforcement agency with about 1 million rules and regulations.
And Harrison really plays with that tension, that clash between individual freedom and societal order. Jim represents this chaotic energy, this instinct to break free from constraints, which is constantly bumping up against the Special Corps' need for structure and control.
And isn't that kind of the heart of the story? Like, can someone like Jim really change their stripes? Or are they always going to be drawn to the thrill of the chase, the allure of the impossible?
Exactly. It's the classic nature versus nurture debate, played out on a galactic scale. And what's fascinating is that Harrison doesn't offer any easy answers, because even though Jim chafes against the bureaucracy, he's also drawn to the sheer scope of the challenges the Special Corps faces. Remember those hints about galactic conspiracies? Weapons of unimaginable power?
Oh yeah, they weren't kidding around. Those breadcrumbs Harrison drops, they definitely make you want to see what happens next.
Yeah. Well, it turns out those threats are very real. And Inskip knows that someone with Jim's unique skill set is essential to stopping them. But he also knows that conventional methods won't work against someone like Angelina.
Oh, Angelina. So they bring her back into the picture.
Oh, yeah. And this is where the story really kicks into high gear. Inskip basically tells Jim, look, you want to prove you belong here? Then catch her. But you can't do it our way. You gotta think like her, anticipate her next move before she even makes it.
That's some next level chess right there.
Man.
So what does Jim do?
He comes up with a plan so audacious, so brilliantly manipulative that even Angelina falls for it. He creates this elaborate ruse about a reclusive billionaire building a spaceship more luxurious than anything imaginable.
Okay, I see where this is going. Angelina, with her taste for the finer things in life, she can't resist that kind of challenge.
Exactly. She takes the bait hook, line, and sinker. She infiltrates this supposed billionaire's inner circle, convinced she's about to pull off the heist of the century. But little does she know, she's walking straight into Jim's carefully constructed trap.
Oh man, the tension must be through the roof. Does he catch her?
Well, it's Harrison, so you know it's not going to be that simple. Just when you think Jim's got the upper hand, Angelina flips the script, revealing that she was on to him the whole time.
No way. She outsmarted the master outsmarter.
She did indeed. It's a brilliant twist that highlights Angelina's incredible cunning and adaptability. She's always one step ahead, using Jim's assumptions against him. And it's in that moment, when Jim realizes he's been outmaneuvered, that we see a shift in their dynamic. There's this grudging respect, even admiration, that starts to develop between them.
Okay, now I gotta ask, who wins in the end? What happens to Jam? To Angelina? I need answers.
Well, that's the beauty of the stainless steel rat. It's a story that stays with you long after you finish the last page. Harrison doesn't tie everything up in a neat little bow. He leaves you with this lingering sense of ambiguity, of moral complexity. It makes you question who the real heroes are, what it means to operate outside the law, and whether some rules are meant to be broken.
You know, that's what makes this book such a classic. It's exciting, it's thought-provoking, and it definitely leaves you wanting more, which is exactly what a great deep dive should do, right?
No.
So if you haven't already, I highly recommend checking out The Stainless Steel Rat by Harry Harrison. You won't be disappointed.